and welcome back to Work in Progress with Nicole Engelmann, which is me. And this is the podcast about honest chats with small business owners. And today I'm joined by Siobhan Strode, who is a consultant for disruptors, an educator, and the founder of the Sister Scribes. Hi, Siobhan.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
It's an early Monday morning for listeners, so we've got an early start.
It's very early, very early. But you've got such a busy week. Well, we've both got quite busy weeks,
Yeah,
so we needed it to be a good start in the morning.
exactly. I mean, let's just get started. Tell us a bit about what you do, your journey, how you've come to where you are now with the Sister Scribes. Would love to hear it.
So I used to be a teacher, and I basically essentially, long story short, had a breakdown in kind of 2013. Got out of teaching in 2015 full time. We moved to Devon, so basically it was like a all or nothing thing. Moved to Devon and I set up my first business, Bulletproof Reading. It was all full of puns and cowboy western themed. And I had a proofreading business where I did lots of different things. So I've always been a work in progress, really. I've just kind of like shifted as things haven't worked out or as I've kind of changed my work. And I fell into copywriting and I loved it. I did that for nearly 9 years. But at the same time as doing all of that, I have stood for Parliament. I've been a councillor, like as in town councillor, not a person who helps people with their thoughts. And was chair of my local Labour Party for years, graduated from the Jo Cox Women in Leadership programme. So I've done like lots of kind of campaigning and activism alongside my business. And then in the last couple of years, I've been slowly pivoting from This Sister Scribes into This Sister Speaks. And I've run my group program a couple of times and I really love helping women raise their voices, basically, women with an asterisk, non-binary people and trans folk included in that. Yeah, so I'm just really loving my work and I'm doing more organisational stuff now as well, going in and talking to leaders and helping them be better and making sure they're hearing all the voices within their team and all that kind of stuff too. So it's all very different, but it all feels quite natural, like a natural transition, helping people write their websites and stuff and moving in and use their voices in that way. And then moving into using your voice for change and making a difference in the world, which, our businesses do that, but in a slightly different way. And I think the world is burning and a lot of us are feeling like we need to do a little bit more now. Collective action is so necessary. So yeah, I'm helping women and non-binary folks kind of raise their voices and lead the change essentially. And I'm very excited to be doing the work I'm doing now, not just writing copy constantly.
That's great. That's the thing. We change and evolve as human beings. So obviously the natural thing is that our business changes and evolves along with us. Like you said, it happened quite gradually. Was there a moment where you said, okay, I'm over the copywriting, doing the things and being in a hamster wheel, or I want to do more of this? Because I know you do workshops as well where you teach people or guide people through raising their voice, basically.
Yeah, so it's when I tell you how long I've been kind of wanting to do this stuff for, you're going to be like, really? It's taking you that long? So I worked with Kerry Jarvis in 2021 to bring This Sister Speaks into the world. And this is how ADHD I am. I kind of birthed This Sister Speaks in at the end of 2021. And was like, right, we're going to do 6, it's going to be 9 weeks long. We're going to do this and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to have my baby and it's going to be great. Basically, like, I literally planned it for the last trimester. And
The optimism.
yeah, the optimism there. And of course, like, people were probably thinking, like, why is she launching now? And I also think it was such a big change for me in 2021, even though, I've always been really political in my business and, well, since 2018-ish, maybe the transition was too big a jump. And from like, here's how you write your website, to like, here's how we change the world. So maybe like that. But yeah, I worked with Kerry in 2021 to build my group program and launched it in 2022, essentially at the end of 2021. And didn't get anybody. Well, I got one person signed up and had to like refund them for that. And I had a VIP option where they could come and stay in my Airbnb and have one-to-one mentoring. And I planned it all out meticulously. But obviously I was like heavily pregnant. I mean, it's my third child. So I was like, yeah, I can do anything. You know, did my PGC while I was pregnant with my first. I was like, yeah, whatever. I can do all the things. I then spent obviously a year kind of maternity leave, mucking about, trying to make copywriting work for my brain. Project management isn't my thing. And yeah, just really wanted to make it work properly. But I just couldn't. I kept looking. It was side-eyeing me. This Sister Speaks was just side-eyeing me from the corner. Like, I was trying to keep all these, like, I was doing some brilliant work and I was doing my VIP days with copywriting and I was really enjoying it. However, yeah, This Sister Speaks was just calling me. And I got expelled from the Labour Party at the end of 2022. And long story, I'm not going to go into that, but if you want to hear about that, go and listen to one of my other podcast recordings. But yeah, like I was like, I really need to use all the training I've had and all the expertise I've got, and I really want the world to be a better place, and I want women to feel more confident speaking up, because that, it does make such a difference. And like, even the ripple effect of one woman speaking up is huge. Like, if you hear somebody talking about something that you're really passionate about, but you've not been confident speaking up, and you hear somebody speaking about that, you're like, oh, she did it, so I should be able to do that too. So it's been side-eyeing me for ages. And then I've launched it again in 2024 and had a brilliant round. And then I've just finished my second round. Once a year isn't like a great transition, but I'm getting there. The flow is coming. Like I said, I am a work in progress. I'm 40 now. I really should be better at this stuff, but like, I just have to go at the rate that my brain can cope with. I need running a house. I'm trying to sell my house at the moment as well. There's loads of stuff going on. But yeah, so This Sister Speaks is my root program, and then I'm doing the other stuff as well, doing workshops, going and talking in people's memberships, that kind of thing, and helping people get really clear on their values and that kind of stuff, and storytelling as well, because obviously, you know, I've been doing that for 9 years and it's still very relevant in this work, because you need a story. If you're going to stand on the stage and speak, you need to know what your stories are, and you need to know how to build that connection with an audience. And obviously it's still, messaging and stuff is still a big thread of my work. It's been a really weird journey getting to where I am now, but like, it's all coming together. My website is going to be ready in a couple of days' time. It was supposed to be ready a few weeks ago, but this life has been lifing for everyone involved. My new brand is awesome. It's much bolder. It's less witchy, because I've spent 9 years being a word witch. I was just like, I need to move completely away from that. It's not that I don't love it. I'm just letting it go. And that's been a huge, like, I don't know if you've ever had that with like your brand, where I'm really attached to the word witch thing, and it's part of me. It's a bit like when I left teaching, the teacher hat, I'm just having to take it off, and the word witch hat, I'm now having to take it off, and that's cool. I'd pick up a megaphone instead. It's cool.
But that's exactly the thing. Like, it's almost, when you look back at pictures of your younger self, you still, you know, kind of relate to that person and you kind of feel her, but that's not you anymore. But it's still part of you. So I think it's the same with our business. Like, I'm completely different from when I started out, not just branding wise, but I think it is a representation of, you know, the things you like, and the things you stand for, and the things, I think especially in the beginning, the things you think you should do.
Yes.
Like you said, you're 40, you should have your shit together. Who says that? Like, who says that?
All the gurus. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's so weird, isn't it? The things. And when I've done workshops and stuff, I often start talking about how I thought I should be in my business when I first set up. Left teaching, had zero clue about how to run a business. No idea what I was doing. Like I said, I set up this Western themed bulletproof reading website. I had a conversation with a friend who was a freelancer at the time, was like a big copywriter, like a proper copywriter, like Mad Men style copywriter. And I remember being like, how do I do it? How do I do all this stuff? Like, what do I need to say on my website? What do I need to do? And he gave me some really great tips, and he was really sweet. The guy I went to uni with, and his wife's lovely. And I just remember being like, okay, so I need to basically sound like everybody else, and I need to pretend that I'm really professional and really grown up. And at the time I was like 30 something, 31, I think. And I didn't talk about the fact that I'd been a teacher for a decade. I didn't talk about the fact that I had all this experience. I just was like, I'm a proofreader and that's what I do. Like, don't tell anybody
Yeah.
anything else. And so it was just really, apart from being Western themed, which I thought was very good pun fun, there was no Siobhan in there. There was no, like, nothing that I stood for, no brand values. There was no, I don't know, like, it's no personality whatsoever. And I was just so worried about standing out because, which is so ironic, right? Like, you just kind of like, I just want to slip in here and everybody to think I've been here for ages. Whereas actually what you want to be like, hi, I'm here. This is what I stand for. Come and work with me if you believe these things too. And it took me maybe 3 years, I think. I left teaching in 2015. 2018, 2019 was when I really started like stepping into my own and owning my sorry, my son's just gone out of the gate and has made my dog bark. Sorry. Yeah, so that flow of like being really confident in what you stand for so that you call in the right clients. I spent 3 years with like mediocre clients. Some of them were lovely, don't get me wrong. Like, anybody listening to this who I worked with in that time, you're not that person because you're listening to Nicole's podcast. The people who I worked with who I didn't enjoy working with were very much not our people, Nicole. They were not our people. I just took everything that came my way as well. Like, I
Yeah, and
didn't
we're
have,
just finding our feet, right? So
yeah,
it's we don't even know what we want yet. We just know, oh, I like doing this. But when you start out, I don't think most people know already what their ideal client is. You're just trying to appeal to the masses because you need the clients, you need to pay your rent and everything. And you think by being generic and a bit of everything, you get the most inquiries or leads or whatever you want to, name it.
doesn't work like that, does it?
Yeah, I think the other thing is like, for example, I'm not someone who thrives of being the center of attention or, here I am, that's just not me. So even for me, and I do branding, I tell people literally show up and say, here I am. And then I'm not doing it myself. So it's one of the things that I've literally changed over the last 2 or 3 years as well, because also I think you're afraid of being judged and like just putting off the wrong people and all those kind of things. So your fear holds you back, and then obviously the longer you do this, the more you know yourself and you know what you want to do. So it all comes
Yeah.
with time. I don't think and I've never met anyone that knows from day one and has their shit figured out. That's just not a thing.
No, it isn't a thing. But I think it's quite funny how we all still judge ourselves, even though like exactly how you said. Like, no one I know has ever stepped into the business world perfect from day one. And I don't think there's anything perfect ever. Everyone's always kind of pivoting a little bit, or rebranding, or getting new photos done, or changing their copy. I'm always saying to clients, I'm writing this for you, but in 2 years' time, it's going to change. And I made a big shift in 2020 where I was moving towards supporting people to do their own work writing, because I felt actually teaching them how to do it was much more ethical. So I ran a program called Shine, which was really successful for like 4 years. And I did my last round at the end of last year. I'm laying this to bed now. I'm never doing this again. I really enjoy teaching people because those skills, it means that you're not having to pay someone $2,000 every couple of years to redo your website. Well, obviously, if you can't do the tech, but in terms of the actual messaging and copy and things you want to say, it's quite fascinating to me how we think we should be successful immediately. And I think there's those big people like Marie Forleo and Tony Robbins, all those kind of people that you initially are like, these are the books I should be reading, Female Entrepreneur Association and those kind of things. I remember joining that in, I think it was end of 2016, I joined FEA, and it was so not me. Pink, rose blush, gold kind of vibes, and all these women who were banging on about mindset and manifesting, and just, it's like the antithesis to my work. Nobody talked about anything political. Don't talk about this. I remember just very much at the end of 2018 making this huge shift because I was just sick of wearing this, like hiding so many parts of myself. At the time, I didn't realize how neurospiced my brain was. Just thought I was a bit weird. I definitely made like a really strong decision in 2019. I need to be chalk or cheese. Like Marmite, I hate Marmite.
Me too.
I need to start repelling people, essentially. So I really leaned into the fact that I was doing so much socialist work. I started talking much more about like what I was doing outside of work. I started talking about my kids, and I started talking about like my running. I did 2 marathons in 2018, and within 2 weeks of each other, made myself very poorly. Like I started talking about that kind of stuff and my mental health and showing all the different sides of me, rather than this like, hello, I'm a copywriter, don't look at anything outside of me, just look at me, don't look at anything outside. I'm a professional. And I think it makes such a difference. And just being able to stand in my values and say, this is what I believe. If you don't like that, I don't want to work with you. And having that confidence to be like, they will come. I remember in 2020, I started doing these like Tory grammar lessons, and a couple of them went viral. And they were great because they were so shareable. The point wasn't the grammar. The point was taking the piss out of Boris Johnson and his ilk and, you know, all the cretins around him. And it was really good fun. And that really grew my audience. People know that what I stood for. It also was really good role modelling for people to see, like, oh, she's being really political, like really political. I could be a bit like that too. Or, you know, they can feeling confident they can swear in their copy or in their messaging or whatever it is. Like it was just, yeah. And everything's kind of developed from there, really. I do care what people think, obviously, because, you know, recovering people pleaser, but or still not recovered, not fully recovered.
Work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress, on brand. I don't care as much. I think that's a combination of age and being in my 40s now, but also I've been doing this for a long time, and I know that if I'm this wishy-washy beige brand, I'm going to get crap clients. I think that's really important for people to, obviously that's a huge part of what you do, is helping people become more standout, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is how you're going to stand out in your business. You can do that with your photos and your brand, but you can also do that with the words and the way you show up and speak. I think it's really important that people lean into what they believe in. I'm really passionate about that, as you can tell. Like, shut up.
Yeah. I think as well, like you said, a couple of things was growing the audience, but it's growing the right audience that aligns with you. But then also, there's nothing wrong with being beige if that's what you are. If you're a minimalist person, if that's kind of your thing, but not because everyone else does it and it's a thing, because, you know, especially if you look in the coaching space, it's all very beige, white, minimalist colors. And I get this as well with the, what was it, the Female Entrepreneur Association?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be my space as well. I think we're quite similar in the way that I don't really see myself as a really feminine adult type. I mean, I'm 36. It's like I'm supposed to be an adult. This doesn't feel like being an adult.
Still don't feel like it, no.
Lucy and Yak, and that's why I said we're quite similar, because I know you too, rather than those power suits and stuff like that. But there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong if that's who you are and what you like wearing and like being. But don't just do it because you think that's what attracts more clients or that's the done thing.
It's something that I was really conscious of, even standing for Parliament, for example, was not to be that person, that not to be the person who's wearing a really boring shoulder pad suit. The running joke was that if I did win my seat, that I would wear my red dungarees, my Lucy and Yaks in Parliament, my berries in Parliament, and God knows whether they would have actually let me in, but maybe if I paired it with a jacket, I don't know. But yeah, it was like a running joke of I'd be the first person in Parliament wearing dungas. It's really fascinating, isn't it? Because I did that in teaching as well, where I felt I had to wear black trousers, beige top. And then as I got more confident, I'd be like, no, today I'm going to dress as a pirate, and next day I'm going to wear a really nice dress from Oliver Bonas or whatever it's called, and a little pair of heels. I like to try on different, like dressing up. I just like to try and figure out where I fitted in or whatever. And running my own business, I love being able to just show up as I am. I run co-working sessions 3 times a week, and on Monday morning at 9:00, most of the time I'm there in my pajamas. I dressed for you, Nicole. I got dressed for you.
I feel special.
I'm wearing a Sam Fender t-shirt and Lucy and Yak jeans on today. I like being able to just show up as I am and know I don't care as much anymore, because I know the people that I work with, they're not judgmental in that way. They don't care. They want me as a person, not me as some sort of all jazz hands thing. And obviously, if you're expecting me to show up and do a workshop, I'm not going to turn up in my pajamas with food on my face or something. I'm going to be professional and show up and do the best I can for your people. But like, I'm never going to be this super polished, lippy, slick back hair. I'm never going to be that person. I'm never going to be in a 6-inch heel ever again. It's not going to happen. I'm too old. I'm too tired. Life is short. And, you know, there's genocides happening all over the world that are more important than handbags. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's more important things.
Exactly. And I want people to feel that they can like talk about that stuff. Like I want people in their businesses to feel these things aren't taboo. When I started out my business, people didn't talk about anything outside of entrepreneurship. Actually, do you know what? The stuff outside entrepreneurship matters. And actually it matters more, because that's how you build connection, and that's how you find your community, and that's how you can build a better business and grow, essentially. You know, not everybody wants to grow constantly, but we all need to grow a little bit, whether it's our personalities and our well-being, we're growing in that respect, or whether it's growing our brand or our email list. You know, everybody needs to grow in some way.
Yeah, I think it's all about not standing still or going back to something. Because I'm the same. I don't want to build an empire. That sounds like a lot of work. To be honest, I just want to have a nice life, you know, enjoy a holiday here and there, and not worry about where the money is coming from the next month. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with ambition, but it should be more encouraged to be happier with where you are than always striving for the next thing, because that's not healthy. And I get really sick of this, how to make 5 figures or 6 figures, and you know, how to be a millionaire. This really pisses me off. And most of the time, this isn't an ethical way. Like, it's not about doing it for the good of people. It's all about being rich, and you usually do it on the back of someone else. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know a millionaire that's a millionaire because he's done loads of good things. Usually they get there and then they do good things sometimes, but they don't become like Bill Gates, for example, or something like that. But I don't think there's ever been a millionaire by doing just all the good things. And also, it's not the recipe for being happy either. And that's what people probably only realize once they get where they wanted to be, because they're still not happy.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely an element, isn't there, of just being secure, like you were saying earlier, knowing that you can pay your bills, knowing you can pay your rent, being able to afford a little holiday occasionally, or, you know, just treating yourself to some gluten-free donuts from Borough Market, like that kind of thing, and knowing that you can afford to buy people little treats or get your clients a gift, or rather than stressing about it. And I've been in the like 5k month energy. I know that a lot of us got sucked into that kind of pre-COVID. But I've also been the person earning 5k a month. I've been there, and then 2021, 22 happened. I had COVID 5 times in 2021, and then I tried to like pivot my business into this other stuff, and then obviously confuse my audience with my messaging. And yeah, it's been definitely a journey, entrepreneurship, and you have to be quite resilient, don't you? And but that whole message about like 5k this and 6k that and 100k a year or blah blah blah, you're 100% right. You cannot get there without not paying people properly, or in hereditary wealth, like someone's either loaned you some money to pay people, or you've wangled some sort of grant or whatever. I got into an online argument probably a couple of months ago, actually, one of Gary Stevenson's posts, because he'd done this podcast recording with a load of millionaires, and he was trying to say, you can't tell people to just go and become an entrepreneur. That's not a thing. And I was kind of saying underneath, no, you can't just become an entrepreneur. You have to have some sort of security. Like you have to have some savings, or you have to be doing it as a side hustle to begin with. You can't just suddenly be like, right, I'm going to quit my job and just start a business. Generally, you're going to screw yourself over mentally or financially. And I, in a way, I kind of did that, but I had my husband who was teaching, so he was paying the bills, but I had to then borrow money off my mum while I was figuring things out, buying a new laptop, all that kind of stuff. You can't just magically set up a business and then magically get to be a millionaire. And I would love to see the bank statements of the people who claim all these amazing things. And I'm not going to name names, but there are people who are really unethical, like really, really unethical. And I would love to do a whole podcast of that, but obviously I'd get sued. So, like for slander or something. But yeah, even though it's true. There's a lot of them. And one of my icks is that, one of my icks is when people start talking about that stuff, or they like, oh, well, when I was reading Tony Robbins, who's the other, Gary V, those kind of people, I'm just like, no, I'm really sorry, I really like you, you're probably a really nice person, but can you go and read, like, I don't know, some Jason Hickel degrowth, go and read the Service Berry, go and read something that isn't business ick. Go and read something else. Yeah, I hate all that stuff. Yeah, I can see the allure. I can see why people fall for it, because money's such a trigger for so many people, isn't it? If you think you can make really easy money, then you're going to have a go. And it doesn't work unless you've got a VA and a marketing team and somebody doing your social media. And I know some entrepreneurs who've got massive memberships, or who have had massive. Vix Meldrew, for example, huge membership back in 2020. Huge membership, and she burned it all down because it was not the easy. It's not as easy. And Maddie Shine did the same thing a couple of years ago, or the end of last year, beginning of last year. You have these big memberships. They're decent. They seem on paper to be earning you lots of money, but actually the amount of time and energy into running a membership, it's not passive income.
No. Because you need to keep the value up and bring in new things and new ideas, so people keep.
Otherwise it stagnates, doesn't it? Like, it just gets. Yeah, so I just find business is such a fascinating thing, and I really feel like I'm finding my my communities now, like where I want to be, and the people who are like-minded, like wild. I've hung out in, and I think we might have met in.
We met at networking.
Yes, with Jess Bruno. And I think because I was in her membership for a while, but her people and Jess, I do hang out in other people's spaces. They're not just all called Jess. I just realised, like, Jess. But
turns out Jesses are amazing.
Jesses are amazing, and big up Jess Bruno and Jess Helens. But yeah, I love those spaces, and I love the groups that I create. And I've been and hung out and taught and done workshops in some beautiful communities. Yeah, Hannah from High Communications has got a gorgeous community of people, and Lara Sheldrake's Found and Flourish. Like, there's some really cool. There are some really cool spaces online where you can hang out and find your people, and also try out messaging as well. You can trust people in those spaces to be like, no, don't do that. Or, yeah, go on, that sounds awesome. Have a go. Yeah, but it's finding this is not hanging out on, Female Entrepreneur Association. No, like, big up. If that's your thing, great. Not slagging that off at all, but it's not where my people are.
That's the beauty in it. There's so many communities out there now. There is one or more than one for everyone. Like you said, I'm in multiple ones as well. And I've been to lots of networking events, and there were some that, they were really busy, full of people, but not my thing, because everyone was just there to sell. And they weren't really interested in having conversations beyond that part. And then you have some where oh shit, I forgot even telling them what my website is, where you didn't even, you just talked about and connected. That's how I go into it as well. Community networking for me is just going out there, meeting people, having nice conversations. And if anything comes of it, great. But that's not the main thing. And I think that changed a lot for my business in the last year and a half, and how I show up as well, because you're then surrounded by people that are kind of aligned with you and have similar values, and you see, they're doing this, so maybe I could do this as well, but my own way. So it just helps you in lots of different ways.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when you remove the almost like an ROI element of going to a networking thing, if you remove that, what's the expectation here? Like, if you just go in, I want to meet some new people, I want to find some new people to talk to, who might share my business at some point in the future, but that's not why I'm here. I also think the people that we end up connecting with are the sort of people who talk about us in a room when we're not there. So, like, I know I've mentioned you every time someone says about brand photography, you, Seeley, Donna Ford, there's a handful of brilliant photographers, all very different aesthetically. But if I'm having a chat with people, I'm always mentioning people that I connect with, that I've really enjoyed hanging out with. And that, you know, the trust element is, no, I've never had my photos taken with them, but they're a really cool person. They believe in this. And we went to networking together and had a good dance. And
They can't be bad.
yeah, exactly. So, but it's that thing of like, that's the people I want to hang out with, the people who aren't the ones who show up with the card and pitch and they're just thinking about themselves. When I was teaching, there was always that kid in my class who'd sit there with their hand up and they weren't listening to anything else anybody was saying. They were always that child who was just sat there with their hand up, and you'd be like, okay, right, what do you want to tell me? And they'd basically just repeat whatever somebody else has said, not because they listened to that person, but because they've been holding this in their head and they haven't listened to anybody else. But you've heard that 3 times already from other children. And I sometimes feel networking is a little bit like that, because they just... And maybe that's a neurodiverse thing, or maybe it's just like a selfish thing. But it's like, it sometimes feels like people haven't heard what other people are saying, or they're not reading the room, or maybe they're really anxious. So I'm trying to be compassionate with people, but there are some people who are just dicks.
Sometimes you can literally feel when someone leaves the conversation before they leave the conversation.
Yes.
Because they see, oh, you're not a potential client. I don't need photos, whatever.
Yeah.
But you can literally see the interest leaving their eyes, and they're just nodding along until they can switch to someone else.
Or they're like looking over your shoulder, like...
Yeah, looking for the next person. And it's like, you know, you're not that subtle.
Yeah. And I mean, I've definitely been part of things where I've been stood there and I've nothing to say in the conversation because it's really shallow, or they're just not my people. So I've just gone, oh, I'm just going to pop to the toilet and like run off. But I can't do small talk. I can do it for a little while, but then I'm like, oh my God. So I want to get in the deep stuff. I want to know, like, what was their childhood like? I want to know, like, what do they stand for? Like, what do they believe in? How do they feel about Gaza? What do they do? What are they doing? Have they got any friends in America? Are they okay? I want to know the deep stuff. Like, I'm not interested in what do you have for breakfast? Or like, did you have a nice walk here? Yeah, so I'm a bit full on.
No, I think that's probably the neurospicy thing, because it's the oversharing part, and then you expect everyone else to share the deep stuff as well, the nitty-gritty. To kind of wrap the first part up, I always ask 2 questions.
Ooh.
Yes.
Pressure.
No, it's fine. One is, what would you tell starting out Siobhan when she just started her business with the knowledge you know now?
Be yourself. Don't try and pretend to be somebody else. You are enough.
Brilliant. It doesn't need to be longer than that, right?
I was like, don't start crying.
Well,
it's too early in the morning to burst into tears on Nicole.
Oh, it's fine. There was a recording last week where I kind of like so I had to hold it in as well. And the other one is, what's something you're really proud of? It doesn't need to be business related, but if it is, that's fine. Could be something recent, something like surviving COVID and still having a business afterward, but anything really.
Gosh, there's quite a lot I'm proud of. I'm really proud of the collaboration that I've been doing with Dom from DMARS Designs and Evie from Yoko Studio. I'm really, really proud of the brand we've created together and the website that's nearly so close to being ready. It should be ready by the time this goes out, actually, probably. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of it. Like, it feels like me. It feels really aligned. It feels bold and sassy, but also deep and grounded. Yeah, it feels so much more me than I'm a word bitch. Jazz hands. I'm really proud of that, and it's been really hard. It's been really hard writing my own copy, Nicole. I should have done my own group program. It's really hard, and I'm really sorry to everybody who I've worked with over the last 9 years, going like, "Come on, guys, just write your copy. It's fine." Yeah, it's not. It's really hard.
It's always easier when you do it for others than when you do it for
Oh,
yourself.
so much easier, yeah. And you probably find that with photos. It must be so weird doing your own photos sometimes. I find it really challenging, but I'm really proud of what we've created. So I'm really excited to share that with the world.
Yeah, and these two are amazing, amazing human beings, and obviously great at what they do as well.
Yeah, I love those two. And we've been pals for a long time. Like I've known Dom since 2018, and Evie since 2020, and it's been a long time coming. But you know, when you I've not been brave enough to let go of what I'd created before, and
Yeah,
letting that go has been huge. And stepping into this is feels huge, even though it's really not a big pivot.
but
It's
it is
really
for
not.
you, and again, it sounds like that's another thing to be proud of as well.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of how, like, I mean, I'm very close to like burnout and breakdown, but it's fine. Um,
That's just a
I'm
normal
trying to
thing,
look
right? Isn't
after
it?
exactly.
But that's not normal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying to stay healthy, trying to stay awake.
Brilliant. We're talking a little bit more later in the second episode, but that's it for the first part. Thank you, everyone, for listening in and joining. And I hope you tune in for the next part in a couple of days. Thanks, Siobhan.
Thank you.